Hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Big 12 podcast. Today it is the 25th of July, 2022. On today's show, we're discussing conference realignment. Could Cal and Stanford be the key for the Big 12 in bringing down the Pac-12? And the latest on Pac-12's exclusive negotiations with ESPN. More on that coming up on today's show.
You are Locked On Big 12, your daily podcast on the Big 12 Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Once again, hello, everybody. Josh Neighbors here, Locked On Big 12 podcast. Hope you all had a great weekend. Want to say a couple words first. Number one, thank you guys. So we have a podcast of the week at Locked On, and it's a massive network. NBA, NHL, MLB, which I'm also a part of over there, Major League Baseball. Locked On Nationals, number one podcast of the week. It's my other podcast for Locked On. Locked On Big 12 is your podcast of the week. And a big reason why is because all of you all have been really interested in our content. You guys have engaged with our content on a day in and day out basis. A lot of times it's disagreeing with what I'm saying. It's disagreeing with each other. So I really appreciated the Discord that you guys have had, or discourse, I should say, you guys have had in our comment section. Keep that going. Tell your friends. Keep subscribing. This thing, it's a rocket ship. It's going to the moon. I'm glad you guys are hopping along for the ride. And you guys are the reason propelling this thing to the moon. So I appreciate you guys. Specific team previews are happening right now. We've done two already, UCF and BYU. Cincinnati is getting done later today, actually at noon today, 11 a.m. Central Time. I am talking with Kevin Eschenfelder, the voice of the Houston Cougars. We're previewing the Houston Cougars as well. So everybody's getting to preview the 4 incoming teams, 10 remaining teams. So we'll take care of those 4. And then at the end of the week, you guys will hear Baylor, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State as we head towards the season. So the top 3, we'll do them in order of how they were picked in the league. So, we should have our first 5 of 14, or our first 5 of the 14 done by the end of the week. But just number one, thank you guys so much for coming along this ride. It's been awesome. You guys have helped propel this channel. Let's keep this thing rolling. Okay, so I and a lot of you all are loyal listeners, and so this is going to bother some people today. All right. This idea was floated by a Twitter account that people are following. It's not a verified account. It's got a lot of spelling issues. So you guys know, I always like to put up things that I can kind of verify. But there is somebody that is MHVER3, 13.7 thousand followers on Twitter, and talked about some things going on. And these are just ideas I'm tossing out there. I'm not going to use this guy, what he said as reporting, but he had mentioned Stanford and Cal and kind of their connection to things. And they've been kind of the two quiet schools. So look, there's no reporting on Cal or Stanford right now. We're going to attack Cal and Stanford from the angle of, hey, is this something that makes sense that could topple the Pac-12? And I mean, topple, kind of bring the Pac-12 to the Big 12. Once again, my goal here is with this realignment talk, I don't want to put out ideas out there about KOing the conference, getting it out of there just for the sake of doing it and saying, F those schools, whatever. I want all those schools to be a part of what we're building, what everybody's building. You guys know my whole point with the Big 12 is I think all the Big 12 schools should be included in whatever college football's future looks like. The same thing goes to Pac-12. Look, you guys might not share that sentiment. That's totally fine. But if you're a Kansas State fan, I care about you. I care about Kansas State. I was called a noted Kansas State hater this weekend. Didn't appreciate that. But no, I want Kansas State to be fine. The same way, I want a Washington State to be fine. Do I care? Do I focus as much on Wazoo? No. Do I care more about Kansas State? Yeah, I mean, just a little bit, because it's the conference that I cover. But when I talk about toppling the Pac-12, I want to bring a lot of them along for the ride, right? I think that's where we are. But obviously, the interest of the conference is number one. So a lot of you out there have been really resistant to the Pac-12 and the Big 12 and the cultural issues, and a lot of you have put out there, hey, it's not the Big 12 saying no to the Pac-12. A lot of the time, it's the Pac-12 saying no to the Big 12. Well, my idea here is this, all right? I really do believe this too. Like it's just going to take two of the Pac-12 schools to bring that thing down. Oregon and Washington, yes. I think the Arizona schools, yeah. I mean, sure, we help you out. Utah and Colorado, yeah. I think as soon as somebody jumps, others are going to want to follow. All right. I think you can add Cal and Stanford to that mix. I think Cal and Stanford, if the Big 12 were to pilfer those two schools, it would make a lot. It would make a lot of sense that the Pac-12 would fold. Not saying that those two schools necessarily make a lot of sense. Once again, we're in the age and the era of conference realignment where really nothing makes that much sense, right? None of this makes any sense that USC and UCLA are going to play Rutgers and Maryland. The only thing that makes sense, it's those dollar bills, y'all. All right. So that's the only thing that makes sense with any of this. That's why you do it. But could Cal and Stanford be good additions? Now, you all might say, no, we don't want those liberal hacks. We don't want that. Okay, because let's be honest, that's all I've seen. That's all from you all, from the fans out there. And once again, I'm not saying you guys are totally wrong in this, but this is a perspective that we have to have here. All right, put the politics aside. They have to do that also. All right. I'm asking you all to put the politics aside. Most likely, if Cal and Stanford want to survive, they're going to have to do that. If they want to play big boy college football, and look, they might not want to anymore, but I think they do. I mean, you got a coach, you got a coach like David Shaw out there. Like, you clearly don't do something. And also, people like Justin Wilcox, man. And it's not like Cal hasn't produced good NFL talent. We know Stanford has produced really good NFL talent. So, these two schools, I think, should be included in our college football world. Guys, I was born in San Francisco, okay? I got family who went to Cal. I grew up on Deshaun Jackson, man. Like, that was my guy when I was younger. I loved watching him at Cal. I love watching late-night Pac-12 football on Versus. That was my ish, all right? I love watching Andrew Luck. I love watching Richard Sherman. I love watching Toby Gerhart. Like, I loved watching all of those dudes play. Okay. I think they should be included in whatever the college football world is. The same way I'm asking you all to put the politics aside, though, they have to also. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that Stanford in a perfect world might be waiting for an invite from a Notre Dame link to the Big Ten or waiting for something from the ACC. Okay. I think that's what they're waiting for. They might not get that in a timely fashion. All right. And the problem for them right now is they're in that exclusive rights window. Okay. And I doubt, and I'm going to read you all something from somebody that, it's probably some reliable source, Jason Shearer over, he is the managing, a senior editor and publisher at wildcatauthority.com. All right. That is 24/7 site. So, there is some credibility to being a 24/7 site. He says one of the major issues right now is that ESPN's offer is low and Oregon and Washington want unequal sharing. They want a certain percentage more. Numbers don't make survival possible within the conference. Big fracture within the conference and other schools won't budge. Okay. Now, once again, this is one report from one person on Twitter. All right. So that's just take that with a grain of salt. But I've been saying this before as we head into week number 3 of the exclusive window. I believe it's just ESPN's got the exclusive one right now. I didn't think that Pac-12 deal was going to be that good. Why would it? There's not much stability there. All the TV execs know the rumors, how they even some of the guys that are out there, pushing some of the stuff and also making these things happen, right? Fox signed off on USC and UCLA going to the Big Ten. ESPN, Disney, and ABC, the Mickey Mouse, as I call them all the time, they're the ones who probably pushed and signed off for OU and Texas to go to the SEC. All right. These people are involved. And I think really what can happen here is that I think ESPN probably knows that if some of these schools go to the Big 12, you won't have to pay multiple rights deals. You won't have to have 2 deals going on at once. You can consolidate to get what you want. Now, the one thing is that school or places like NBC and CBS might still be in on it, right? So I think we've discussed what the new Big 12 rights package will look like, television package, and it's probably going to be in a variety of places. We mentioned NBC, I mentioned CBS, I mentioned ESPN. I think between hoops and football, you're going to see Big 12 content across a variety of platforms. Hell, we already do now. It's already on Fox, right? Big noon games. Some of those big noon games are Big 12 games. Saturday night games on ABC, OU versus Oklahoma State. That was a game that was on ABC, right? College basketball, you get games like Baylor and Kansas on ESPN, right? So a lot of those games are happening. The Big 12 basketball is basically, I think it's exclusively on ESPN. I don't think you see it on Fox or anything like that, unless it's like a special non-conference game, whatever it is. I know. You get CBS games, right? They get first choice on Saturdays, so you'll see some. Obviously, you'll see those games on Saturday afternoon happening on CBS, and then you saw Texas Tech Gonzaga play on CBS, so you get some of the non-con games as well. But you get my point. Like, it's already in different places as it is right now. It might be going more places in the future. So in terms of having the exclusive, consolidation, that's not a guarantee if the Big 12 were to take those Pac-12 schools. But I'm not surprised. To use the words of Nate Diaz, a great UFC fighter, I'm not surprised. I'm not going to say the last part of it. That maybe the deal is not what we thought. That's what we think. If USC and UCLA are going away and you're losing Los Angeles, and the conference seems like it's on the rocks, and there's rumors about the Big 12 being interested in the other teams in the league, like, that hurts. And also the Pac-12, the Big 12 does not need the Pac-12 schools necessarily, right? It would be nice to have, but they don't need them. They're going to be around here for a little bit. Now, their place in context to the SEC and the Big 10, I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. But we think the Big 12 is going to be fine, at least for right now. They look like they're okay. So that kind of goes back to my original point. If you're Cal and Stanford and you're serious about still playing Big 12 or big boy football, rather, your best option at the moment, and this goes for Oregon and Washington too, it's probably going to be the Big 12. It's probably the Big 12, right? I mean, sure, you can take Boise, you can take San Diego State, but I don't think BYU is going to be going to the Pac-12 after just agreeing to come to the conference. I don't think Oklahoma State is looking to make a jump. I don't think Texas Tech or Baylor is looking to make a jump to a league, especially when we know that Oregon and Washington might be making a jump of their own at some point, and that other schools have expressed interest potentially in joining your league. So I don't see the Pac-12 poaching Big 12 schools as a factor. And I don't see the Big 10 moving immediately. And maybe the ACC wants to make a move right now, but they got a lot of issues of their own. And so I'm not sure necessarily the ACC is in a position where they want to go out and grab Stanford and Cal. I think they're probably more likely to make a play for Oregon and Washington, maybe Stanford and Cal too. But look, the best two brands available are Oregon and Washington. I think Stanford's a really good brand though. But what I'm saying here is, Stanford and Cal, sure, there would be a lot of resistance to some of the things that happened in the Big 12 Conference. Religious affiliations, obviously, with schools like BYU, Baylor, and TCU would be something. Somebody mentioned protests in our comment section. Look, guys, let's be reasonable about this, okay? I'll put it out there. I'm a progressive. I'm a Democrat. All right. We're not all a bunch of lunatics in the streets, trying to, burning buildings or something like that. I'm not sure what you all have been told, but some of us out here love college football. Some of us, lean left and we still love our football. And I still love all the folks down south. I love, you guys are awesome. The fan base is great. We can have our differences. This is what I'm telling you. I'll put the politics aside. I want the Big 12 to be as strong as possible. And you know what? If they don't put their politics aside and they go away and die, that will suck. I will feel bad for Stanford and Cal football fans, but what are you going to do? If you don't want to join our league because of your politics, screw you then. That's a really dumb thing to not join a league for. It's really, and I know people say, well, it's more than that. Okay. I'm sorry, the Big 12 does not, the Big 12 is fine academic institutions. I'm sorry, we don't have Oregon and Washington and Stanford and Cal. We don't have these amazing, UCLA and USC. Sorry, not every conference gets to have those splendid academic institutions, right? I mean, the SEC has Vanderbilt, and Georgia's a really good school, and Florida's a really good school, but they have large state schools too. I'm not trying to diminish anybody's academics here, all right? But the idea that somehow that Stanford and Cal would join the league and all of a sudden, we'd be flooded with like liberal propaganda is ridiculous. Like, guys, it's not going to be, it's not going to be liberal professors at our school meetings being like, we have to play two-hand touch football. All right. It's not what's going to happen. Okay. Football is football. Business is business. If you want to be a part of this business, you want to get it done, fine. Our door's open. Join the league. You have to play by some of our rules, and we'll be a little bit accommodating to you, and depending on whatever that is. But like, this is business. All right. And guys, Brett Yormark is somebody who I can pretty strongly guess that Brett Yormark's politics probably align with mine more than they some align with some of y'all's. All right. He worked for Rock Nation with Jay-Z and worked in entertainment industry, guys. I mean, let's be honest, people who work in entertainment, normally more left-leaning people. But Brett Yormark here is, folks, he's here for the business. He's here to get deals done. And that's what I'm talking about right here. So let's push the politics aside. If we get Stanford and Cal, that could bring more of the Pac-12 into the fold. If those two schools go, hey, I definitely think the Arizonas, Utah, and Colorado would be interested in joining as well. So look, folks, I know we don't love Stanford and Cal for some of their politics. And look, guys, I thought a lot of the COVID stuff was ridiculous too. I thought they held, and I took COVID really seriously, 2 open heart surgeries, it was serious stuff, to me and my family, and we took it very, very seriously. I thought they went too long with a lot of the stuff. I thought no fans in the stands last year for college basketball games was too much. I mean, not even, you forget having the fans mask up. They didn't even let them in. They didn't have fans at some of the games last year. I was watching Cal versus USC, and there was nobody there at the games. And I thought, hey, well, that's too much, man. Why can't we go to the games and maybe reduce attendance and wear masks? And some of that stuff was too far. All right, in my opinion. But look, if that's what we have to deal with, we can deal with that stuff. All right. If that's what it takes to get Stanford and Cal, COVID's kind of hopefully in the rearview mirror at this point in time. But if dealing with some of that stuff bothers you all, I get it. But come on, folks, we can put that aside. We really can. Now, the question a lot of you all asking, and you all are rightfully asking, is can they put aside some of the political and cultural differences? Because another point, I think it's important making, hey, maybe there's not issues that we're seeing right now, but maybe they could arise between universities like Baylor, TCU, BYU, Stanford, and Cal over the course of time. Sure. But this is the world we have to live in. We have to live in a world without OU and Texas in the Big 12. We have to live in a world where we're going after schools in the Pac-12, although they might not culturally align. And also, here's a good thing, folks. We might get more schools that do culturally align with maybe what you perceive to be our conference's values. Colorado, I know, is in Boulder, but hey, they were a Big 12 school once, right? Utah, Arizona schools. Once again, this point was made on Twitter, and it's been made a bunch by people. Like, I think those schools might culturally align a bit more. So at worst, if the Big 12 takes 8 schools in Pac-12, if they take Oregon and Washington and Stanford and Cal and Utah and Colorado, the 2 Arizonas, like, you're probably getting a pretty even split of the way the schools kind of divide up culturally. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But I know a lot of you out there, especially my guy Roy. I know you're listening. I know you're watching. I appreciate your fandom, but I know Roy is a no on Stanford and Cal. But just, folks, I think it could be the key. I think Stanford and Cal could be the key for the Big 12 in conference realignment. It's the 2 least talked about schools. And I think if Brett Yormark goes and says, look, we've heard a lot from everybody else, but you guys can be the first ones to do it. We'll offer you a new home. You can still play in the big leagues, still maintain your academic integrity, and you guys can be a part of a league for sure. The key is, will the power brokers at Stanford and Cal play ball? They should. All right. They should not let whatever perceive, just like, we don't want to be a part of a conference with Christian schools in Texas. Okay, fine. Let your football program go play in the Mountain West because of that. No, I cannot see that happening. I think because the money is too big, it's too important at this point, I think Stanford and Cal would join the league. I really do think they would. This gets me on my next point. Like, I think the move's going to have to come soon, because here's the thing, folks. They're in the back end of that exclusive negotiation window. We're July 25th now, and I read the article. Let's see, from Cal Sports Report, Fan Nation. Jay Curtis had it on July 5th. Let me go check my calendar really fast to make sure I can double check what day that was for you guys. I want to make sure I get this right. So July 5th, yeah. So their window opened up last Tuesday. This will be 3 weeks from that Tuesday tomorrow. So the 30-day window, they've got about a week and a half left here of that exclusive rights window to negotiate and get this stuff done if you're the Pac-12, or not get it done, but just be the only ones out there. And hey, maybe they want to hear overtures from Amazon, from Peacock and NBC, from all of those places. But we heard, look, that maybe Peacock and Notre Dame want some shoulder programming from which league? The Big 12. Huh. Maybe you want to be shoulder programming the league? There's one team I know in the Pac-12 that plays Notre Dame. Oh, there's two of them. Well, USC's leaving, but Stanford plays them basically every single year. Come on over. That thing lines up. It would make sense. And I know once again Notre Dame's not joining the Big 12. We know that. Also, going to be talking to Ashton Pollard, Notre Dame on 3 Sports later on this week. More conversation coming about Notre Dame and their future. So I think you guys will enjoy that a lot. But to the point at hand here. Like, that would make sense. You can come be a part of this shoulder programming around the USC or around Notre Dame, So, I think it can make sense. I think it's another angle where it makes sense. Stanford particularly, but I think Cal kind of comes along with Stanford. And also Cal has decent fans. Like, Cal just needs to be good, and they'll get the fans. There are people who like Cal football, like Cal basketball. They like that stuff. So and also Bay Area guys, not a bad market to have, right? Not a bad market to have at all. That's say what you want about the politics of that area, folks, but man, those people love their sports. All right, they are. I mean, you see attendance at Warriors games, at when the Raiders are now gone, but at 49ers games also stop. But like they have really passionate fan base. They put the stadium in Santa Clara, which kind of screwed them. Baseball, they love the Giants out there. So look. It's a great sports market. It's one of the big cities. It's a place to add. It's 2 teams that can help facilitate more movement in the Pac-12. There are reasons to add Stanford and Cal, in my opinion, outweigh the negatives. And look, once again, you all know that while my politics might be more left-leaning, I do not agree with maybe the way that those schools view some things in athletics. I am more aligned with some of the Big 12 schools. So I think there is all compromise here, people. I hope my politics don't scare you all off, but I don't let my politics get into this stuff. This stuff's business. We care about the league, people. We care about the league. We want the league to survive. And so I hope they care about their programs, their schools. They want them to survive. We have enough differences that we can put aside and do some business. That's what we're talking about here, getting business done. All right, and let's actually do some business. Transition here. A word from our sponsors on today's show. Today's Locked On Big 12 podcast is brought to you by our friends at BetOnline and betonline.net. Go to BetOnline today. When you guys do, check out their new interface. It's nice, it's sleek, it's easy to use. Also, it's free to sign up. So go to BetOnline and betonline.net today. Big bet yesterday, folks. Got really lucky on BetOnline yesterday. Denny Hamlin wins the race. So I bet on Denny Hamlin. I bet Denny Hamlin head-to-head. I had Denny Hamlin to win the race. Still got paid out for it. Fails inspection like 2 hours after the race. They take the win away. Good thing I still got my winnings. So thanks to folks to BetOnline and betonline.net today. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. Also, LinkedIn. If you need a job or you need to find somebody for a job, folks, LinkedIn is the spot to be. It's the place to go. Over 40 million people weekly on LinkedIn. Job seekers, people, people looking to hire people. So LinkedIn Jobs will help you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every single week, nearly 40 million people, job seekers, visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedon. That's linkedin.com/lockedon to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. All right, folks. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at LOBig12. You guys can find me at JoshNeighbors_. I'm sure we're going to get plenty of comments on this video, so keep them coming. Thank you all so much for helping us win Locked On's Podcast of the Week. Also, we're a top 200 sports podcast now on Apple. So let's keep this thing rolling. And that's because you guys are the best fans in America. We're out doing the SEC. We're out doing Locked On Big Ten. We're out doing Locked On Pac-12. It's all because of you guys, so I appreciate it so much. All right, so next time, my friends, as always, stay safe.